Could errant assumptions about planning for college actually be contributing to the student loan debt crisis? Recent articles suggest maybe. I'm going to clear the air that more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. We know we've got a student loan crisis right now. We know that. And I don't know when you're watching this. At the time I'm recording, there's been no clarity, no finality to whether there's going to be this sweeping student loan forgiveness and cancellation plan that was, announced by the White House several months ago. We're still waiting. Courts have made some action, but those decisions are being combated. And so we'll see how that plays out. But regardless, we've got a student loan crisis. And there's actually a recent article that suggests that there might be some psyche, some assumptions, some myths that are sort of making the problem even worse. We're going to get into that. But as of just recently, take a look at some of these statistics about student loans, how they've, kind of risen over the past several decades here. We've got almost $1.8 trillion of total student loan debt. That is outstanding for those people that have student loans. The average balance is around $37,000. I've seen sort of both. I've seen it around 25. I've seen it at the 37,000 number. That's interesting. We'll see how this actually plays out with forgiveness. I know many people were hoping that could happen and it would be a blessing to many, and yet it's a very charged issue because money doesn't grow on trees and it's got to come from somewhere. And yeah, tricky. But recent article posted and published by CNBC suggested that there's actually a myth about financial aid that is attributing to more and more people needing to get student loans because they didn't plan properly to begin with. So get this, right here, a misunderstanding about how the 529 plan works with financial aid. They're suggesting that it's possible. That's leading people to not have as much saved up for college, and therefore, because they don't have money saved up, they've got to turn to loans. And I disagree with this personally. I obviously can't. Everything is connected more than we can possibly know. The butterfly effect. I would agree that some circumstance on the other side of the world can influence things today. So things are wildly complicated and complex, and we can't truly understand how the influence of one thing could shape something else. But to me, I don't see this play out. I haven't seen it play out in my career where someone says, oh, that's a good idea to save up into a 529 plan for college, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to lose the ability to get financial aid. But more on that in just a second. But here's sort of the myth. The myth is that if a parent saves up into a 529 plan for an educational savings account for their child, that then the 529 plan is going to count against them when they fill out their FAFSA and try to get some financial aid. And therefore, this article and this author is suggesting or asking the question, or others have pondered the question, does that perceived myth that the 529, that saving money up, is actually going to limit your ability to get financial aid, is that causing people to not save up into 529 plans? Again, I don't think so. But the reason why it's a myth anyway, to think that even for a second, is for a family, for a parent to save up into a 529 plan that's earmarked for education, specifically for college, but they loosened the rules just recently. Only 5.64% of that 529 plan is actually even factored into the financial aid calculation. So when you're going through the financial aid process, I'll try to keep this very, very brief. It's complicated, but through the FAFSA system, schools and the financial aid departments are trying to look and see what's the expected family contribution. How much can you afford to pay for college for your child? And they look at your income and they look at your assets. And assets in your 529 plan, money that you've saved up, and earmarked for college that has certain tax benefits if it's used for college, the calculation is only assuming that 5.64% will actually be used for college. So guys, this is an extremely generous calculation that is, money in your 529 plan. So it's barely any of it is actually going to influence your ability to get financial aid. So that's a very generous calculation. So I think those laws and those assumptions are set up, not laws, but those assumptions are set up very, very favorably so that more and more people will be able to get financial aid. And I think that's the myth that this article is trying to bust. So yes, a 529 plan actually doesn't really hinder your ability to get financial aid, and it does a little bit, but just barely. It used to be that dollars saved up by grandparents into a 529 plan really hurt chances for student aid significantly, but due to a recent law change, that's actually not going to be true for the 2023-2024 school year. So that's about to phase out. So 529 plans, they are accounts designed to help you save up for college, giving you some tax breaks, maybe even some state tax breaks as well. And they don't really play a big role in determining whether you're going to get financial aid or not. So they're not going to really count against you that much for student aid. Now, in my professional opinion, I have not seen this that often. In 20 years, again, I don't remember a conversation that I've had with someone where we talk about the merits of the 529 plan and they say, nah, I don't want to save because I'm really banking on getting some financial aid. I often don't see that. Most people that I talk to, they are looking and saying, well, yeah, my income is going to limit my ability to get financial aid. So therefore I should try to use as much of that income as possible to save up for college, so that savings is one of the avenues, one of the ways that we can help our children or grandkids for college. So I haven't seen this much in practice. Maybe it's out there and it's impacting some folks' psyche, but I haven't seen much of it. For you, hopefully that sort of dispels that myth that, saving into a 529 plan that hurts you from a financial aid standpoint. No, it really doesn't. Only 5.64% of 529 plan dollars actually go into the calculation and determining financial aid. So what should you do if you're wanting to get a jump start on saving up and helping kids with college? Number one, I would start saving for their college as soon as you possibly can. Rarely are you more motivated as you are when you're holding that child in your arms. Now, financially, you might not be very equipped, but I'd get started. I'd get started because you're motivated and you're eager to start saving. So I would start early. While saving up for college for kids, you do have a long time. It's not like retirement where you've got 40 years. You've got 18 at the most, right, to save up for college. So get started early. That's number one. Number two, I would use a 529 plan. Talk to your certified financial planner. Take a look and see what tax shelters are available, what the requirements are, what the limitations are. But to me, if you're saving up specifically for college, because of the tax benefits the 529 plan offers, you got to look at that one. You got to look at that type of account first, because if you can save up for college in a tax sheltered way, that means you've got more dollars set aside and earmarked for college, because the capital gains or dividends and interest, all that sort of stuff doesn't land on your tax return. You can pull those dollars out, that growth, you can pull that out tax-free for college. If there's a state tax benefit, you're getting that as well. So that's tip number two, is I would strongly consider a 529 plan. Three, I would then work with, if you're married, work with your spouse or the other parent and say, okay, what's the goal? What are we wanting to accomplish? Even two people that were raised in similar settings and similar social economic groupings can have very different viewpoints on what their role should be with college for their kids. So get on the same page and then work with a certified financial planner to say, well, how do we accomplish that goal? Whether that's we want to pay 100% of state tuition, or we want to pay for 2 years of college, or we want to just save up a certain amount and then the child can use that as well as pay for it themselves, or student loans, or whatever it is. Get on the same page with your spouse, and then talk to a CFP and kind of map that out and plan that out. But the big idea related to this article is don't be afraid of the 529 plan. in Indiana, our state offers a significant tax incentive for using the 529 plan. Like I said, it's tax sheltered along the way, and really because of how the system is set up, only 5.64% of it counts against you for financial aid anyway. So don't be afraid of saving up into that 529 plan. Work with your certified financial planner, craft that plan, make sure they're doing tax planning so they can determine whether the 529 plan makes sense or a different account makes sense. Work with your CFP. If you don't have a CFP on your team that can help you with that, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.